don't click off. You watching Striving to Prosper. Let's get it, man. Listen to tunes while we're doing it smooth, Strivers. Remember that.
What's good, y'all, man? It's Striving to Prosper here, and I thought it was time that we talked about Oberon and dive into his kit a little bit. You know, everybody's talking about how Oberon's the GOAT, and even though that's very true, they got one thing off a little bit. He's not just a GOAT, he's a GOAT on steroids. He's literally a walking monster, and I'm gonna show you why. So first, I would like to say that I don't play Oberon. I never really played him like that before the rework, but when I looked at his rework and everything that they gave him and what they added, it was very promising, and I was like, wow, I can really do something with this. So I decided to go ahead and give it a shot with the build, and I'm gonna show you guys that real quickly. But before we get into the build, let's go ahead and talk about his abilities and what they're capable of. So first, let's talk about his armor rework buff. This right here is the reason why he's the tank that he is right now. Regular Oberon had an armor of 185 and then went up to 385 with the rework, and his prime version went from 240 to 450. 450 is actually really good, and this is what makes him the tank he is right now. So for his passive, apparently his old one was giving survivability to companions, which obviously isn't necessary anymore since what, 2023 or something like that. Companions are like overpowered now. But for his new passive rework, it actually spoke to me. Oberon grants righteous negation to himself and his allies in affinity range when he collects health orbs or even universal orbs, I found out. Protecting players against next instance of damage stacks up to 3 times. So pretty much the passive makes it when you collect the health orb or universal orb, you get these 3 shields that circulate around you, and this is what really protects you pretty much. So these shields circulating you blocks all incoming damage once, giving brief invulnerability. And when you run out of charges, you still get 0.25 seconds of safety before the next hit. This is pretty broken. And then we have Smite. Focuses deadly energy within a target, dealing massive damage and removing all of its defenses, including overguard. Enemies near the target also takes a portion of the damage. This also reduces enemy health by 35%, capping at 75%, so this is really good. For Hollowed Ground, sanctifies the ground before Oberon, inflicting radiation damage to all enemies within the radius. Also grants protection against status effects for Oberon and his allies. So what this rework did to this ability, it increased its height to target the enemies flying, and because of the height increase, you can only use 3 instead of 4. It gives guaranteed radiation procs. Nullifiers don't destroy it anymore, they just disable effects when you walk inside the bubble. Renewal heals double on it, and Iron Renewal armor no longer depends on standing in it. For Renewal, generates a protective aura that grants bonus armor to Oberon and his allies and restores allies' health over time. Healing is doubled while within the radius of Hollowed Ground. This ability right here is the bread and butter to the build I'm about to show you guys soon, because the amount of armor that you can have in this is crazy. Up to 99% damage reduction when you have this build. Oh, just wait till I get to it, you'll see. This ability now costs 3.5 energy per second when it's active, regardless of the number of allies it's healing. So I assume before the amount of allies it was around, it costed so much more energy. So that's a good fix. The range is now his affinity range. So I guess previously it says up here is that you were able to place it in a specific area on the map. Instead, it now moves with you, applying a static zone effect. So that's good. That means wherever you go, if your allies are near, or if you run up to your allies, they can get the effect too. This is the cool part in my opinion. Players affected by Renewal are given the Iron Renewal buff, which increases armor by 50% for Oberon and 100% for allies. This ability is very strong, and this is what's going to help us a lot with this build. And for our final ability, Reckoning. Lifts enemies into the air and hurls them down with conviction, removing their armor. Enemies hit with this ability will grant Oberon additional armor and have a chance to spawn a health orb when they die. So some important changes to this ability. Oberon targets enemies in his line of sight only. I haven't played him like that before, like I said, so I don't know how it was before. But now if they're in your line of sight, they're gonna get got. Increased bonus damage to enemies affected by radiation status effects up to 750 per stack. Oberon gains 10 armor per enemy hit, up to 1000 lasting 30 seconds. This is very crazy. I'm telling you, all you're doing is building armor for Oberon. That's just a spoiler right there. You're just building nothing but armor with this guy. This is what makes him pretty much immortal. And enemies hit lose 50% armor permanently and have a 50% chance to drop health orbs. Now, since we covered all of his abilities, without further ado, let's get into the build I have for you guys today. So this is our in-game Tankeron build, and we'll be using the Umbral mods. So for the aura slot, we have corrosive projection that reduces the enemy armor, and then we're gonna go with prime sure-footed because we don't want to get knocked out on our behinds. We can't call ourselves a tank if we're getting knocked down. We gotta stay on our 10 toes, or for Oberon's case, our 6 hooves. Now this is where things get pretty important. I have 3 Umbral mods because it's gonna give me 180% extra armor. That 100% is coming from Umbral Fiber, and the extra 80 is when you have the full set. And then we got health conversion for even more armor. When you pick up a health orb, you get 450% armor stacking to 3, so that's going to give you a total of 1350. Then we have adaptation for 90% damage reduction. Now I'm not getting the 90% because I don't have it maxed out yet, but if you have it maxed out, you're getting that 90% damage reduction. This is really good for this build. It's going to add on to your survivability. Then we got transient fortitude for more ability strength, but it's going to knock down on duration, so we're going to put prime continuity in there to add to our duration. Now for the final mod that a lot of you guys are probably questioning, narrow-minded. This mod is actually very important for this build. Now a lot of you guys are gonna, I know a lot of you guys are saying, ew, why do I have 40% range? Look, trust me, I'm a range guy myself, and that hurts me too. But the thing is, this literally is not meant for nuking or none of that. This is a tank build for you and your allies. Now, the reason why narrow-minded is definitely the mod of choice is because of the fact that we're getting 208% ability duration. Now, that's without maxing it out. If you max it out, it's gonna be more. But this is really good because the thing is, Reckoning is the only ability that's going to hurt us the most. And that's why we have Arcane Battery. Arcane Battery is going to give us a lot more energy because we're going to have to keep casting Reckoning to get that 1000. If you cast on the same enemies, you should be able to hit it really quickly, but it will take a while. But because of this setup, this will help because once you get to 1000, you will have 68.1 seconds of ability duration versus the 30 seconds. This is going to help with energy management. This will help you big time. But of course, if you don't want to use narrow-minded, this will be the one mod that you will switch out. It's either narrow-minded or adaptation. Those are the only 2 mods that you will want to switch out, one or the other though, because the thing is, you're going to have a lot of armor. Adaptation isn't really necessary with this build, especially if you have the blue shards that give you extra armor. If you want to have that, we're going to talk more about that soon. But so far, if you want to get rid of any mod, it would have to be narrow-minded. You'll get more range, and pretty much put it with one of the augment mods, whatever suits you the best. And as you guys can see in my ability section, I have Eclipse for my second ability. Now with this one, if you are playing high level enemies like Archimedes, any of the Archimedes, I would advise switching narrow-minded for total Eclipse so everybody can benefit for that plus 75% damage reduction. In fact, Hollowed Reckoning is actually a really good substitute for narrow-minded because of the fact that it creates zones of radiation damage on enemies and additional armor for allies. So you can definitely use this. Now for those wondering which helmet options to swap out, I would recommend either swapping out Smite or Hollow Ground like I've already done. Keeping Smite is really for nuking potential, so you can do more than just give everyone buffs and stuff like that. You can also help contribute killing enemies with the abilities if you want. So if you want to keep Smite, that's completely up to you. You can kind of work around it to make it do more damage, get more range, whatever works for you. And if you decide to replace Smite to keep Hollow Ground, that's good because Hollow Ground will help you with status immunity. You don't really need status immunity because you're already a monster as it is. Nothing is going to take you out. You can also stack radiation, and when you're around Hollow Ground, healing is doubled from renewal. And again, for the Arcanes who went with Arcane Battery, this is really good to have. More energy the better. And of course, Oberon's signature Arcane Universal Fallout is really good to get. I would say go for that one if you have it maxed out. That's perfect. But this build mainly focuses on Arcane Reaper. So if you don't have Arcane Universal Fallout, definitely go for Reaper. You get plus 660% armor for 10 seconds. That's going to increase your damage reduction and pretty much going to push you even closer to that 99%. Now for the Archon Shards, the ball is in your park for this one. I can't sit here and tell you what to use. You can use anything you want because the calculations and the math I've done, I didn't include the Archon Shards. But if you want more out of it, you can use 5 Tau Forge Azure Shards for the armor, or you can use 4 of them in 1 casting speed. I would recommend a casting speed. That's what I would recommend. But other than that, you can pick whatever you want. I know some people go for the orange shards. So if you want to use that, you can go ahead, but this is completely up to you. And for those of you who want a more detailed explanation and breakdown on how I got that 99.927% damage reduction, here's the chart. Take a screenshot, pause the video, whatever you have to do, but this is literally everything you need to know about this build. And yes, this is the max Tankeron build. Everything is max upgraded. There's nothing left out. I took an account of that. I know I had some mods that weren't fully ranked up, but I took an account, make sure everything was good, make sure the numbers were right. And this does not include the Archon Shards, which is why I said the ball is in your park. Pick any shards you want. If you include the Archon Shards, you're only adding more to the damage reduction. That's pretty much everything to cover about the Tankeron build. If you have any questions on the screenshots I sent you, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'm going to show some gameplay footage real soon on how to properly play the Tankeron build and how to help your team and yourself out. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully everything was easy to understand. I try to make it as simple as possible. Again, look at the screenshots if you want a more in-depth guide to this. Please like and subscribe if you felt like I've earned it, and please leave a comment down below if you have any questions, concerns, or tips you'd like to add yourself. Remember, all feedback is great feedback. We're on a journey to strive and prosper till we thrive. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, man. We strive to the top until we thriving. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, man.